Hello again, this is Victor James, author of the Megacosm, and if there's one thing I can do very well, and that is boycott. I'm serious, I haven't watched the NBA since my Spurs won their last championship because I can't stand LeBron James, and it's boring to watch guys just shoot 33 pointers a game. So I'll say all this because I was having a problem with Netflix long before the 2020 Cuties drama, but that was really my final straw. I have seen so many other movies that I won't name because I don't want to give them any limelight. That made me realize I don't want to give Netflix my money. So when I canceled, I stopped a few shows that I never really got to finish. For example, I had to give up on King and Ashura, which I was really into, and I was really mad when they bought Cobra Kai from YouTube because I couldn't finish that either. But the one show that stuck in my craw was Ozark. I had watched Ozark all the way to season 3, which ended on this massive cliffhanger, but season 4 came out during my cancellation. So I still haven't subbed to Netflix, but just to say I got my hands on season 4, and I really wanted to make a video discussing the intricacies, the plot, and the characters that I found fascinating because Ozark was one of the few shows that I liked, but they didn't have one character with the redeeming qualities. I honestly was not rooting for any character in Ozark to win in the end because they all deserved to go to jail, even the kids. But I can't make that critique video because Netflix has done it to me again. This was probably one of the most disappointing endings I've seen since Game of Thrones. But I really shouldn't be surprised, should I? Because that's what Netflix is after all. And they're known for letting their viewers down. And this is where my rant begins, so there's minor spoilers ahead. So Ozark ended on season 4 when it clearly needed a season 5. In season 4, storylines were rushed, characters were killed, and the ending tried this whole black screen thing with the gunshot sound, just like Sopranos. But to be fair to Netflix, the showrunners say they wanted to end the show this way, and they were not forced to by Netflix, but I'm not buying it. There was speculation that spin-offs could be coming using the characters that did survive to continue the story, but I'm 3 years late on this show ending, and I still don't see any spin-offs coming. So we're left with a ton of unresolved storylines for Ozark that may never be told. Or they will be told, and people would no longer care because they waited so long. And this is Netflix in a nutshell and why I don't miss it at all. Because Netflix are notorious for canceling shows at the height of their popularity. There are a few shows that I started watching but gave up on because I heard they were canceled too early. Shows like Mindhunter, Sense8, and Santa Clarita's Diet that were all abruptly canceled with major cliffhangers left unresolved. I even watched Glow for a time before it got all preachy, but it was canceled due to the pandemic and their storylines that were never resolved. And these were just the shows that I watched. I asked ChatGPT to list other shows that were popular and canceled. Now, some of these shows admittedly are crap, like Cowboy Bebop and Resident Evil. They deserve to be canceled. But I watched Lost in Space and it really wasn't that bad, yet it was canceled without a satisfying ending. And I can't help but wonder why people put up with this. When Netflix first came out, they had decent shows, with tight storylines and air dates that didn't span a decade. Orange is the New Black ran for 7 seasons, and you know what? They came out with a season every year. And the same goes for House of Cards. That ran for 6 seasons and had a season every year. But look at Netflix now. Stranger Things is on season 5, and it's dang near 10 years from the start date. All the kids have pretty much married and divorced since the beginning of the show, even though supposedly only 3 years have passed in the actual storyline. Wednesday came out in 2022, and people just got season 2 in 2025, and there is 2 years gap between every season of The Witcher, but you get the picture. I honestly don't know why people put up with this. If your show isn't canceled before you get a satisfying ending, if it gets popular, Netflix will drag it out just to cash in on the popularity. Okay, to be fair again to Netflix, Bridgerton and Squid Games appear to be on normal schedules for seasons, but that seems to be so hit and miss with Netflix that you can never tell what they want to champion and what they want to drag out, or worse, what they want to cancel or end abruptly with no satisfying ending. Another show I was really into was Kingdom, an awesome show set in feudal Korea where a plague turned the countryside into zombies. I was truly on the edge of my seat as the plague grew beyond their ancient weapons, and I found the idea a great twist on the zombie genre. Yet, I see Kingdom ended after season 2, with implications that the zombie plague was more widespread, but the show ended in 2020, and you know Netflix would never return to it and give it a proper ending. And that has always been my major problem with Netflix, and I don't know why people bother to pay for a service that will constantly let you down, throwing a plethora of shows against the wall just to see what sticks, and then canceling the shows right when you get into it. And when they do actually invest in a show, you get a season in random years that usually ends with an unfulfilling ending. You add up all my complaints with Netflix questionable shows and their depiction of minors, I have no regrets canceling my subscription, and Ozark ending just reminded me that nothing will ever change with Netflix. But that's just my rant about Netflix because I was so disappointed in this ending, but you tell me if you disagree or agree in the comments below. So I want to remind you about my first novel, Fiasco Adventures, that's available on Amazon. It's actually available anywhere books are sold, but people like to buy from Amazon. I also have a Kindle version available we can get on Amazon for $9.99. And I want to remind you about my website, themegacosm.com, where I actually have my shop where you could buy it from me directly at a discount. And there's also a short story I wanted to remind you about that's available for 99 cents. It's actually selling very well these days. People are liking this story, so go ahead and pick it up. Also on my website, you can read short stories for free. So these short stories, Liquid Bank, Carry On the Cleaner, and the book, these are available for free. They're all complete. Just go ahead and read them for free. And if you're interested, you can read the first chapter of Fiasco Adventures for free, just to see if it's something that you actually want to purchase. And if my website's not your thing, go ahead and go to my Substack, where you can read pretty much the same stories on my Substack. But my website, I'm actually going to be releasing a book called The Narika Meme pretty soon, and all my available information is going to be on my website. So go ahead and sign up for my website. You can get that information before anyone else. But that's all I want to say about this. God bless you and keep you. That's it, I'm done.